to you until we get the right. Let's go. Thank you very much. All right. We're good, man. We're good. I mean, wow, what a. I get to deep dive on you over the last little while, and I'm just seeing the energy, intensity, excitement, and then kind of your story. So let's just dive into it. OSF, you're the co-founder of REKT Brands, REKT Drinks, and now REKT Coin. You should have been building at this intersection of crypto culture and consumer products in an interesting way that I can imagine most people didn't quite get for the longest time. And yeah, so I mean, you want to just give us the TLDR on REKT today before we can dive into some of the details.
Yeah, look, we started out as an NFT project, REKT Guy, from about 4 years ago, built a very strong community over 2 or 3 years through a bear market. We felt like there was a lot of potential in REKT as a brand. We decided to fuck around and find out, and we made REKT drinks, basically, using the REKT IP. They're just flavored sparkling water, pretty standard. And then we thought, okay, we're a very meme-based NFT project. Liquid tokens is obviously the strong narrative in 2024. So we thought it makes sense for us to have like a coin, meme coin, brand coin is what we like to call it. But the idea was, instead of just airdropping the entire thing, we would reward people with tokens based on drinks they purchased. And that would turbocharge our drink sales. Well, that was the idea anyway. So we first launched the drinks in October of last year, October 2024. Since then, we've sold about 700,000 cans, which have been across, I think, only like 4 different sales. So they tend to sell out very fast. Our last sale, we sold out of about 180,000 cans in just 17 minutes.
Is it like the Pokemon guys that go run at Costco and just like fight and run out with stuff? Is that how it works?
It's definitely that vibe. And yeah, people have been able to earn REKT coin from purchasing these drinks. From the very first drop, anyone who bought those drinks and held onto their coin have probably now made something like 15 times their money, possibly even more than that. So it's not the first consume to earn project, and I think that's maybe where people didn't quite get it at first. It's definitely not the first to do that, but I think what people didn't understand was how strong our community has been, and we've been building this over the course of 4 years. It's not like we had this idea in January and just launched it now. This has been the accumulation of multiple years of community building, of brand building, and we decided to launch our token later on rather than launching it first. And so I think we've built a very strong holder base from it. But that's kind of like the TLDR on what this is. Obviously, I've been very vocal on the timeline recently. We wrote a whole light paper on what we're doing. We've been pushing this idea of brand coins. We have a collaboration with Binance US that we just announced this week as well. So, quite a few things right now that we have that we're pushing out right now, but also a lot of things coming up in the pipeline.
Yeah, I want to get into what's coming up, but I want to make sure we get this like one piece. I want to know what the brand coin thesis is.
Yeah. So let's say you have your favorite challenger brand or your favorite local brand. Everyone has their favorite brands. How do you support that brand? Well, you go and buy their products, right? You go and buy their products, you tell your friends about it, you share the link on your socials, etc. You kind of, you don't work for them, but you definitely help their growth. Now, let's say in 5 years' time, they kill it. They become a global brand, they get acquired by Pepsi or something like that. What do you have to show for it as an early supporter, as someone who discovered it, as someone who participated in their growth? Nothing, right?
Sweet fuck all, I think.
Yeah, maybe you have some bragging rights. Not only that, not only do you not get anything for it, but they're fucking paying, these influencers on Instagram and stuff who don't even care about the brand, and those guys are the ones getting paid for it, right? So it's a mismatch in who really is the people who should be rewarded, who are important, versus those who aren't. So now imagine you buy a REKT drink. You buy your REKT drinks, you get paid some REKT coin, and let's say you hold on to it. And let's say now we start to kill it over the next few years. Even though the coin doesn't benefit directly from the revenues, doesn't own the IP, it's not shares, but will it go higher or lower if the brand does really well, if the sentiment of the brand improves? It will go higher. And obviously we're up a lot in the last few weeks and months, and that's because brand sentiment is improving. So the idea is like, yes, it's basically consume to earn, but I think we've marketed it and pitched it in a way that is actually more understandable to the average and normal person, where it's like, okay, like I get it, I'm going to buy these products because I like it, and just getting the token on the side is sort of like a bonus for it. And now, when you buy a REKT drink, you're not just a consumer, you're part of like the community, or you're sort of like a de facto stakeholder. And that's the main idea, number one. And then the quick one, number two, is like when a company gets acquired, it creates a line item on the balance sheet called goodwill, which is the excess amount paid ahead of over the net asset value. It's kind of like the intangible brand value of that, right? And that can be hundreds of millions of dollars, but it's just on a company's balance sheet. It's not liquid. It's governed by two people agreeing on a transaction at one point in time, and then it just sits there and actually possibly even gets impaired over time, right? I view our coin, the brand coin, as like the intangible value of the REKT brand. But the difference is you can trade it as liquid, millions of dollars of it trade every single day. And if you think it's worthless, you can go out there and short it if you think it's going to go lower. So what I've been saying to all these TradFi people I've been speaking to, and I actually have a TradFi background, is yes, you may think it's worthless, right? But how about this $725 million goodwill line item you have on your balance sheet that was done 13 years ago? Like, you're telling me that's like a better judge of your brand value than what we have, where you can actually express a view in the market. And that, I think, is a very powerful concept that actually gets some of these guys on board as well.
$18 billion is the value of goodwill on Coke's balance sheet. And I've used this exact line with many probably similar people out there. I think it's still hard to grok. And obviously the execution of it and the dynamics that come with crypto matter quite a bit here too, but I think it's an interesting concept.
Yeah. I think it's experimental and it's kind of out there, but I think it's a powerful one.
I'm curious, do you think this can apply to bigger brands as well? I mean, do you have ambitions to take this model to other companies through partnerships?
I think so, yeah. I think if we do it really well, we can create a playbook for other people to do it. Like, REKT coin is at a $340 million FDV right now. The Token Foundation owns 34% of that, which we use for future rewards and stuff, which is worth now more than $100 million. So we, as a startup brand, have just created this hundreds of millions of dollars of value, or we've unlocked hundreds of millions of dollars of value using crypto. There's not one company in the world who wouldn't want to explore doing that, right? Especially if we make it a success story. So will it work for Coca-Cola to do it? I don't know, because people want to support the underdogs. People want to support crypto native brands. It has to really be done and marketed in the right way, where it doesn't feel like a cash grab. Like, people don't like cash grabs, and that's why I don't think it's applicable to everyone. But I do think if we can do it well, I do think more people can do it. But you genuinely do have to have like honest intentions, I think.
It's like a goodwill treasury company.
Yeah, exactly. I like that.
When you say 18 billion for Coke, it seems undervalued, frankly. I mean, in a world of $1 trillion companies, Coke seems like something worth a hell of a lot more than 18 billion.
Yeah.
But I think that's what Josh is, you get Josh on here on a good rant. He's going to talk about the mispricing of goodwill in sports and the mispricing of goodwill in brands. And I think it is, it's core to, I think, our thesis here. So much of the value that gets created is very intangible in the traditional corporate structure. But, we think of these things as networks at C Club, and then a network isn't just an L1 or an L2. It's the connection between people. And I think meme coins and brand coins, or whatever you want to call them, it's kind of a really interesting structure to price that in some way. Obviously, it comes with ups and downs. I think I like hearing that you're like, if you don't believe in this, short this. I think that's the very correct way to sort of approach, especially a moment when there's a lot of excitement around a token. But I believe you guys did, so from NFT project, is it true that you opened up equity ownership to NFT holders in REKT?
Yeah. So what we did is we took a historical snapshot of our NFT holders, and then we actually gifted them equity. They had to claim it. So it was done through a Reg CF exemption in the US. So it's an actual SEC exemption. And we went through a whole process with an SEC registered dealer broker where people had to KYC. So it was like, okay, connect your wallet. You owned this many REKT guys as of this historical snapshot. If you like, you can claim your shares. You have to KYC. Everyone had to upload their ID, address, all that kind of stuff. And then they end up getting their shares. So not everyone claimed, but I do think it was something that we were kind of like a first mover in. And, the idea is like, you have, number one, you reward your community, which is the thing that you should always be doing. But number two, you kind of convert them into like these turbocharged marketers, right? Like, everyone's like, fuck, I own a piece of this company. I'm going to get all my friends and family to buy REKT drinks and really push it hard. Like, you unlock this like, crazy tribalism almost in people, which I think has been very powerful. It was a very long legal process for us to do it and figure out how to do it, but we got there, and I think it's been one of the main cornerstones of the success we've had, I would say.
I'm curious, are you going to bring REKT drinks? I presume they're all done like online pre-sales currently. Are you do you have ambitions to bring them to brick and mortar?
Yeah, so we actually launched some drinks in 7-Eleven stores in Los Angeles about 4 weeks ago now, last month, which it went pretty well. You know, we ran a promotion where it was like buy $10 worth of REKT drinks and get $100 in REKT coin. And we had all these kind of like normies coming in, trying to figure out, you know, we used abstract chain. So they claimed the coin really easily. And then people were asking me, so how do I sell this? And I was like, well, so you got to get a Coinbase account, then you got to bridge your ETH, then you got to get to abstract. Then you got to, like, okay. So, which is not a bad thing. We get people into the coin and they don't know how to sell it. But it's we have been. I think the goal to make this really big, we need to break into the traditional world, which means we want to have that headline one day where it's like, oh, REKT drinks is now stocked across thousands of stores in the US in every state, and that's when I think people have that sort of like light bulb, oh fuck moment, like this can get really big. And that's what I think Pudgy Penguins and Luca just did amazingly over the last 2 years, like bridging those two worlds together and getting people into that story. And that really is like the gold standard for how it should be done. So
I'm curious if you have any observations of Luca's strategy over the years, things you've learned or are thinking about doing yourself.
Yeah, like I would say everything that Luca did with Pudgy has been a massive inspiration for me. Like my ego is not too big to not admit that. Like I watched him crush it with that, take a project from, very little to what it is now. And it was really inspirational. I was like, man, like this guy didn't have to do this, but he's doing it. And he's actually like really impressive. So that definitely gave me a lot of inspiration to try and do something with REKT. And I think, there are lots of similarities in what we're doing. Like we're an IP player, we have a real world product, we're, sort of in the CPG manufacturing world, etc. And there are some differences in what we've done as well. So I think they're both really good case studies. I think the underlying thing about both of them is they are well-liked IP players within crypto that have been successful because you've had teams do things the right way and not just be myopic and extract and and mess up, right? And the success of both of these case studies have only been possible within crypto. There's no way Luca could wake up tomorrow and say, hey, I'm going to make a toy company and we're going to sell millions of dollars worth of it without having that crypto IP backing, right? There's no way I could have woken up tomorrow and said, hey, we can just sell hundreds of thousands of drinks in a super saturated and competitive market without having this crypto backing behind it. So the main thing is that I think Web3 allows you to build IP and a community in a very accelerated fashion. And then it's up to you to actually make it sustainable. And I think they've done that really well. And it's a good target to aim for us for sure.
All right. Speaking of doing things correctly, I think the token launch moment is one of the maybe higher risk moments that's out there. And I think there's this big conversation over the last few months of low float, high FDV tokens, VC tokens, meme coins, etc. I'm curious, maybe quickly, how did you think through the token launch? What was the mechanic there? And yeah, maybe just you can start there.
Yeah, we didn't want to do the high FDV low float thing because it's just clear that you start at a high price, unlocks happen, and your chart is like destined to go like this, right? So the way we did it was like there were no vesting periods. Everything was unlocked on day one. And we had, although we didn't do any token raise, we airdropped tokens to investors in our safe that we did at REKT Brands. And even for them, there was no unlock. It was just like, here, airdrop tokens. You can just do whatever you want with them. No unlock for the team. No vesting schedule for the team either. Everyone's, it's like trousers down day one. You know what I mean? Balls on the table was the other thing I would say. So it's just like the idea for that was like, let's just get people who want to sell, get them out early. Let's have natural price discovery on where this thing should actually trade, and we will start low. Like people who are getting airdrops may be disappointed. We will start low, but that allows us to build this story up over time. And that's kind of what our chart is. Our chart is sort of just like this because we started at a low market cap, we started at low FDV, but as the story has improved over time and as coins have changed hands from non-believers to believers, I think it builds a much better foundation. And now when people come into it, they're like, oh, well, I don't have to worry about a cliff coming up in 6 months' time where investors are just going to nuke or VCs are going to nuke. And we don't have any VCs in our investment round either. It's all just angels. So that was done like, very much by design on our part. Just having seen what had failed and just trying to switch up the idea behind it. So again, it was a risk to do it that way, but I think we
So-
are grateful that we took that risk now.
Was it just sort of launched on a DEX?
Just that, yeah, we did have one listing. We were listed on Gate, so we launched on DEX, and then we had a Gate listing as well.
And did you guys just roll liquidity yourselves, or was that part of the launch as well?
No, so we had liquidity providers who added liquidity on centralized exchanges and also on DEX as well.
Nice. All right, man. Well, we could probably talk for much longer. We have a bunch of other guests to get to. Look at Nicholas wants to say. Do you want to ask one more thing?
Just one last question. Yeah, can you just tell us about the Binance partnership today? What's going on?
Yeah, so it's our first tier 1 listing. So we're listed now on Binance US. It's the first time you can buy REKT on a centralized exchange in the US now, which we're really stoked about. And we've done many collaboration drinks, over the last few months. We did one with Abstract Chain, we did one with OpenSea, we did one with Jupiter. And this is the next one we have. It's a Binance US drink. You'll need to sign up for a Binance US account in order to get any future rewards from it. It's a very cool looking gold can. And they're going to go on sale in a few days and be delivered, shipped out in a few months. So it's a really cool opportunity, I think, for brands to have a physical kind of like social engagement tool. And for us, it's, obviously a great collab to have as well.
It's interesting because the default belief is that teams have to pay through the nose to go get a Binance listing. Do you guys sort of trade off an interesting brand collaboration as part of that? Or like, I'm curious. Oh man, see, I have too many questions, Nicholas. You sparked a whole other.
Yeah. It depends who on the exchanges, and it depends on, I don't think if you want to force through a listing and you don't have much of a narrative, you probably can do it by paying a lot of money. I think if you do a lot of volume and you have a good story, exchanges will come to you because they will perceive that they want to
They're going to make money.
So, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
OSF, man, really appreciate you hopping. Now,
is there going to be a REKT chain? Is there going to be a REKT chain?
I don't know what we'd use a REKT chain for. Like,
that is not apparently a relevant question out there for many decisions that have been made. All right, OSF, man, we got to leave you there. We've got to go bring Joe up here, but I mean, congrats on all the progress.
Appreciate it.
Absolute masterclass in community building there. If you want to go see what's going on, I mean, it's just purely a feed of people who are stoked on what you guys are doing. So, GG on that, and wish you continued success.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, guys. Cheers.
Thanks.
Thanks.